Hello, 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 amazing friends. Guess what? It's Monday, which means that it's another amazing episode of Pink Pixels tonight here over on the Gamers channel. I'm so excited to be here. Every Monday, we've had amazing guests on. This is our third episode in our little selection of cosplayHERs. And every single week, it's been amazing. I am learning all new techniques, new approaches, and also kind of lowering the barrier of how intimidating cosplay can be and how welcoming these kind individuals have been in this space. But even if you aren't wanting to get into cosplay, it's another great opportunity for us to learn about the stories, the experiences, the emotions, and perspectives that we bring from wherever we are in the gaming space or wherever we are in our nerdom. Let's be honest, if we like gaming, we love all the other forms of anime and movies and comics and everything else all combined. And by learning from each other's experiences, we get a more richer life. We get a more richer collection of individuals, a community that is exciting, that gives us new perspectives and stories to love and engage and all the fun things. So I love that we're here and I appreciate that you're tuning in and joining us this wonderful evening. Now, as I mentioned, we are in part 3, which means we have our third guest and she is phenomenal. As you might know, of course, we are doing a Get Ready With Me and we're joining Lexy Carey in the midst of a cosplay transformation. So we're going to hop over and you're going to see a slightly different reveal, perhaps not Lexy in her natural state, but in a mid transformation. Lexy, say hello to all of us. I love that. I mean, when I think of Gamora, I wouldn't have even thought of like, oh, when I moved over, oh, it didn't unmute you properly. Would you love to say hello to everyone again?
Okay,
At least they
one
got a
more
nice
time.
visual as you showed everything off. Yeah.
Once more. I'm Lexi. I'm doing my Gamora cosplay today, which takes a pretty long time, so I wanted to get a head start with the prosthetics. And here is mid transformation Gamora.
Perfect. Perfect. I love this. I won't lie. It is different. It is not what I was expecting. And I love this kind of behind the scenes feel that we're getting right now. Like this is the secret version. Uh, how often do you take pictures of your process and wanting to show like, hey, not only are here the pretty final pictures, but here's everything in between.
So not as often as you might think. I feel like I do it frequently to send like my friends on Snapchat and I won't save them. So I'll just be like, just another Tuesday night shenanigans, and it'll be me with paint on my face.
They're like, oh, they're used to this. Oh, no big
Yeah.
deal. Do they ever play guessing games like as a surprise? Like, what is she making? Can we figure out who she's gonna be?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're able to get it right away because I'll like talk about
Mm,
what my cost plans are. Like, oh, I want to do this character, and they're like, "You're doing it. That's
yeah.
I know that color."
I imagine when they're thinking Gamora, that is a pretty big giveaway when you have the different
Yeah,
markings. Now,
it usually starts with
mhm.
purple Elmer's glue on my eyebrows, and they'll see that first.
I think it's funny when I think of like cosplayers, and I know drag uses it as well. But Elmer's glue is not one that I would have considered like as like especially because it's not targeted towards makeup.
Yeah, that was a hack that I discovered my first time ever doing Gamora,
Hmm.
which was my first cosplay,
Yeah.
back in 2014, so almost 10 years now. And like looked up a bunch of videos and I noticed like a lot of people using the purple's Elmer's glue on their eyebrows because once you put paint or foundation over it, you
Yeah.
can't see your eyebrows anymore. And then purple because it dries clear, so you know when it's
Oh.
dry.
Oh, okay. And you don't apply early or anything like that.
Right.
What was the first thought going through your head? You're like, yeah, I'm going to put glue on my face now. I hope this comes off.
Yeah, and it also comes off pretty frequently because I guess, children use Elmer's glue and you don't want it to be, like, too sticky. I That would be my guess why it's toxic and all that.
It's the
Sure, there's, like,
secret.
plenty try eating Elmer's glue.
Okay, fair enough. They're like, if kids can consume this, I can put this on my eyebrows and they'll
Yeah.
be fine. As somebody who's overplucked their eyebrows, I'm very protective of what I have now.
Oh, I've definitely accidentally ripped off some of my eyebrows. Not from the Elmer's glue,
Okay.
not from the it was from so when I put the prosthetics on, I have to use spirit gum, and that stuff is very tacky, and then there's
Oh,
spirit gum remover
uh-huh.
where you have to use that because if you just rip it off, like, you'll rip your eyebrows off.
Where you're just done with the cosplay and you're like, I'm done with
Yeah,
this.
it was, right before New York Comic Con, I did a Gamora trial, and I was like the prosthetics are usually reusable, but I
Mhm.
was using brand new ones for New York Comic Con, so the ones before that, I was like, "I'm off because I'm gonna throw them away," and then, like, just, like, the tail of my eyebrow got ripped off.
That's trendy these
Fine,
days. You're good. You're
draw it
good.
back on.
Yeah. Just glue it back on. It's fine. It's like it never left.
Exactly. It's grown back by now.
I love that. Well, one, you're lucky that it has. But talk to me what we have on our face right now. Because I'll be honest, as someone who has not seen anyone cosplay Gamora up close, I guess I would have thought like green and then just drawn on for the etchings. But
So, I used to draw the markings on her face,
mhm,
and then just because I've been doing Gamora for such a long time, I always I wanted to take it a step up.
yeah.
And, like, if you look closely at her in the movies and just, like, pictures, you can see that they're, like, indented into her face.
Mm,
So I found some silicone prosthetics on Etsy, and I had to like, this is my first time well, not today is not my first time anymore, but, like, this year was my first time using silicone prosthetics.
mhm.
So I had to do a lot of trial and error and figure out how to do it. And I'm still not perfect at it, but that's what I love about cosplay because
Mhm.
there's always opportunity to learn more,
Yeah.
like, techniques you've never done before.
I like the concept of leveling up. You're like, hey, it was great then, but here's where we're gonna go next time.
Yeah, exactly.
So now that we have the prosthetics on, so we glued and then we use spirit glue. You said
Spirit gum.
spirit gum.
I'm
I'm
not
learning.
sure it's, like, just another adhesive. I don't know why it's called spirit gum. But it's, like, this kinda stuff, and you have to, like, tap it so that it gets tacky, and
Oh,
then once it's tacky enough, you can, like, put the prosthetics on.
what a weird thing! I would have been like, I put it on. Why isn't it working? And then I'd be.
That was me the first time.
This is like the magic behind it. Oh, okay. So we've got these cool silicone pieces, which you source from Etsy, which I love. Great place to connect with other creators on there. What's the next stage?
So now that it's on my face and my skin is prepped, it's time to paint.
So what paint do you use? Because I tried to do Frankenstein's monster for Halloween this year and I used from Spirit Halloween some green and it was terrible. It was so hard to get on and to actually have like any sort of thickness shade of green in anything. I just looked sick until I had like
Yeah.
3
So
coats on.
my first time doing Gamora,
Yeah.
I used Spirit Halloween paint.
Okay.
And
Cuz I
it wasn't great. It was,
okay.
like, throughout the night, it was, like, chipping and peeling off my face, and it kind of burned my skin a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt that, but it kinda, like when you put on a face mask and it kinda tingles, that's what it felt like, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right."
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's like, oh, it's into my pores. This is not just
Yeah.
on it, it's in it now.
So for Gamora, I like to use, Mehron's Paradise paints, which is water activated, um, and they're shade light green, but I also for other cosplays, I like using their cream-based paints because since it's not water-based, like, off with sweat, but they didn't make the right shade of green for like, the shade of green I like to use for Gamora, they didn't make it in their cream paints,
Of course.
so
Not
that's why I use the
yet.
water paints, but I don't too much at cons. I haven't had too many problems with the paint coming off.
Well, and you have to do like an all day thing, right? Like, so you're out and about with other people in different environments. Like, it has to last.
Yeah,
This isn't like me going to a Halloween party where I need it to last maybe 2 hours. And then after that,
right.
no one's taking pictures. It's fine.
Exactly. But, I feel like Amazon is like, I've tried other brands and Marin was the first good brand that I tried, but I just wanted to, like, see all my options, and I just keep coming back to Maron.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Well, and that's also part of it because I know cosplayers are thrifty, but I guess that's the challenge of deciding when do you go thrift and when do you go brand.
Yeah.
Hmm. But this is
So
one of
for
those.
paints, I definitely, would do a lot more, like do your research on paints, make sure you're not allergic to anything. Like always do a patch test on your hand before you put it on your face because the worst thing would be to find out you're allergic and it's already all over your face. But, this I really love this brand. It's like full coverage right off the bat.
Whoa. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like it's super smooth too.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. That is incredibly fluid. I wish my own foundation would go on so smoothly.
I mean, they do make foundation colors.
I'm gonna go full thick face every single time. It'll be easier that way. Uh, okay.
I've actually wanted to try because their cream-based paints have, like, more natural skin colors, and I've been thinking about trying it for my non-body paint cosplays
Yeah. Yeah.
because if it lasts all day in color, I'm sure it'll last all day naturally.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a great choice. I wonder if there's also like wedding makeup artists are like, yeah, I also use this because
Oh,
it'll last
yeah,
all day.
that would probably be a great idea, actually.
Anytime you've got all day events, you're like, I need to look good. Here we go. This is our
Yep.
option. So, did you also like be very choosy with your brushes? I'm looking at all the tools that you've got here, right?
So, usually for my paints, I actually
Mhm.
use old foundation brushes. Like, I'll use my newer brushes on my regular everyday makeup.
Yeah, yeah.
And, when you use a lot of body paint, like, no matter how much you wash the brush, like, this brush will always have a green tint to it.
It's like your official Gamora paintbrush.
Yeah. So yeah, this is like a brush I used to use for foundation. Then I got new foundation brushes and I was like, why let a good brush go to waste? There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, just repurpose. That's a smart
Yeah.
choice. I love
We're
how smooth this is.
we love recycling here.
So while you're putting on the screen, I have to say, in the motivation it takes to put on that much green, it it's not what I would think is a first choice. And this was one of your very first cosplays, right?
Yep, back in 2014 when the first movie came out.
Wow. Okay. So I gotta say, cosplay to me is very intimidating, but the idea of doing a full body paint of green, or at least what most of the chest, all the neck, face, hands, forearms, that's ambitious.
Yeah, so it all started, like, when I would go all out for Halloween. I'm like, "How do I make this year better than the last year?" And it's kind of funny. So before Halloween, this was like in the middle of summer.
Hmm.
I was 14, I was home alone, and I had like this colorful eyeshadow palette. So I had green eyeshadow and covered my I don't know
Green.
I don't remember what made me think like I want to do this.
That's amazing. How much
So I
eyeshadow did you go through? Was
did
that palette
eyeshadow
just
and I was like, "Ooh, this kind of reminds me of Gamora. What if I do Gamora for Halloween this year?"
uh, I imagine that palette is just decimated at this point.
Yeah, it's
Just
gone.
no green left. I mean, the amount you would have to put on. How did you touch anything?
Well, I only did it on my face
Okay, okay, good.
then. Yeah,
Still,
so I only put it on my face, and then I was just like, "Wow, this is kinda cute."
I won't lie though. I see like this in between. I'm getting mask vibes from like Jim Carrey.
Yeah. That's what when you don't do any contour, that's
Yeah,
what you get.
yeah, yeah. I love this though. I'm so happy for you now that we have like this beautifully smooth makeup that we can put on versus like continually brushing the green
Yeah.
eyeshadow all over. This is a level
Um,
up.
yeah, exactly. And then I think it was, like, middle of July at this point, or I don't even know. And then Halloween was coming around, and,
Yeah,
like, me and my mom went to Spirit Halloween, and there was, like, a Mora costume, and then there was paint and the pink hairspray,
yeah.
and we were just like, "Here it is, everything I need." And I
I can
wore
see.
it to a friend's his birthday was in October, so it was, like, a Halloween birthday party,
Wow.
and, like, of course, like, I'm not surrounded by cosplayers, I'm just surrounded by like regular people dressing up for Halloween.
Of course.
And like for months after that point, people would come up to me. They're like, "Oh my gosh, were you Gamora at that party? You look so different."
They didn't write that. That speaks to the talent and the transformation you did. That's amazing.
Yeah. And that's when I was just like, "Wow, I love doing this. How do I do this all the time?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I like every year I would level up for Halloween. I'm like, how do I go even more all out than I did last year? And I would find more body paint costume. I guess it was like costumes to me at the time.
Yeah.
But then I discovered like New York Comic Con, and then I started going, and I'm just like, I can do this. I don't need to wait for Halloween to do this. I can do this all
Yes.
year round.
That's right. That's right. I love that mentality. And you can. You absolutely should be able to do it year round. This is art. This is beautiful. I won't lie. Like this is very satisfying to see how smooth this is painted on. I don't know why. What's the visual version of like ASMR? Like that's I'm so impressed with this. I love this. I think you're absolutely right of being able to create this. At what point did you go, I'm a cosplayer now though? Right? Because it's not probably after your first one, like, yeah, I enjoy this. I'm going to start doing this. But when did you
Yeah.
say, like, this is me? This is what I do?
I guess it was my first New York Comic Con, which wasn't until I want to say 2019,
Okay.
either 2018 or 2019. Um,
So you actually took quite a few years before going to like the
yeah,
big con.
so my sister actually lives in the city, and every single year she would send me pictures of people in cosplays on the subway, like, "Oh, New York Comic Con's here around this time of year." And every year I was like, "Oh, I should go next year." And I would keep forgetting to look up when it is or like when tickets go on sale. And the same cycle would happen every year where she'll send me pictures and I'll be like, "Damn it, I forgot again."
That is the greatest challenge for you. I think that's hilarious. They're like, oh, yeah, I just need to plan ahead.
Yeah, and then I finally, like, remembered, like, "Oh my gosh, I need to look up tickets," and then
Mhm.
I finally did, and I bought tickets, and with my boyfriend who is not a well, he's a cosplayer now,
Yeah.
but he wasn't a cosplayer then, and I was like, "What should we do? Like, here are some ideas, like, should we go as" our 2 op my 2 ideas were either, Starfire and Robin or
Ooh.
Beast Boy and Raven, and he was like, "Let's do Beast Boy and Raven," and I was like, "But that means you have to be all green, and you've never done that before." And he's like, "That's fine. I like those characters better anyway." And I was like, "Okay."
The
And I had to paint
commitment.
myself gray and paint himself green, and it was but now he loves it.
But I love that. Then you get to share it together. And I feel like that also helps when you have to do like the full body paint of like, hey, you can paint me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And,
a good buddy
like,
system.
he's figuring it out, like,
Mhm.
he'll start to, like, help paint, but, like, I have to do the contour for him.
But yeah, after time, like, because there's a learning curve behind it and figuring it out. And it's good though to be able to share it and have somebody to create because I think there's something really cool, not just when a cosplayer creates work on their own, but when they start to collaborate and you create scenes, you create memories together. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and it's, like, something that we, like, constantly do together now. It's like,
Mm.
we'll be talking about, "Okay, what's our next cosplay? What are we gonna do for this con? What are we gonna do for that con?"
Yeah, planning it out. What's the favorite that you two have done together?
I think it's Star-Lord and Gamora.
That's fair. I've seen those pictures on your Instagram. If you all aren't following Lexy Carey on Instagram, you absolutely need to. They're darling. I think they're better than like any couples photos I've ever seen.
And this year was, like, the first year we actually got, like, a photographer. Like, every year we'll just, like, rely on remembering to take pictures with our phones, and we don't. Like, we
No,
always
no.
we'll get, like, the bare minimum of pictures.
Hmm.
And I was like, "This year we need good pictures."
Yes, yes. For the amount of work that you go through, like that's like the second part of the art. Like one is like the actual first display, like you create it, ta-da. But third is capturing it, right? Or third, second.
Yeah.
I can't count. Forget my numbering tonight. But you get it. Like you want to make sure that you can share it, that you can remember it, that you can see the energy, and it's part of that process when I see cosplayers posting, and that's one of the things that I love about your Instagram feed is that every single one of your photos has so much energy behind it. How do you go about because obviously you not only create it, how do you embody the energy of all of your characters? Each photo is bold. I sense attitude and emotion in every single one. And that's one of the reasons why some of your work is my favorite. I love it.
I mean, I guess I used to be a theater kid.
Cheers
So
to the
I
theater
guess that's
kids.
kind of how it is. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, how do I like what's this character's personality? Like I'm like,
Yeah.
Gamora is very stoic, she's badass, she's like,
Mm-hmm.
she learns to let loose later on in the series and she like dances with Star-Lord a little bit,
Yeah.
but she's still that badass woman. And I just try to embody that the best I can. Whereas I'm trying to think of another cosplay where I like created a variant of Loki that was just like a disco queen,
I
and
loved
I'm
it.
just like I gotta bring a speaker with me to the con and blast disco music and just dance around. And I like have started conga lines at conventions before, and it's
Yes.
so much fun.
I think it adds to the interpretation of the character because it wouldn't be the same if you were just doing like a business headshot, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. I'm
But
like I have to make this fabulous now.
yes, yes. There's one photo I'm remembering very quickly is when you just have this kind of not disgusted but unamused look with Mantis. And
Oh,
it feels like it's stolen straight out of the movie. Like if you were to tell me that interaction happened in the movie, I'd be like, yeah, that's a screenshot. It's
yeah,
dead
when
on.
so when I saw that's Michelle, when I met her in time in person
Hmm.
as I was Gamora and she was Mantis. And we were taking a picture together and I was like, "Wait, can we recreate that scene where Gamora touch me and the only thing you'll feel is a broken jaw?"
Yes.
And he's just
Yes.
like, "Absolutely, let's do it."
I felt that. I got that energy perfect. I think that's fantastic. And it is. There's a theatrical component to it that makes sense. All right, I've been distracting us. What are we doing now?
So next, metallic silver paint that I'm gonna put in the creases of the prosthetic so that you can see the lines better.
Okay. Okay. Where do you get something like that?
This is also Maron.
Okay. Winners. Got it.
So I actually they have their own website and they're on Amazon, but I bought them from New York Comic Con because I forgot to pack my silver eyeliner that I usually use for like it was I
Yeah.
Gamora was luckily not until the 3rd day of the convention,
Okay.
and they have a booth there. I need silver,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Here, we got this."
We got you covered. Don't worry. Are they there knowing like cosplayers are going to need stuff from us? We got them covered.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They also have, like, a booth where they do free touch-ups to people, who are wearing, like, body paint, and I was when I found out that, like, they're doing free touch-ups, that's amazing.
Yes. What a great marketing choice, honestly. And to build brand loyalty, but like, we're here to take care of you. I'm like, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, like, they're my ride or die brand, honestly.
That's fair. That's
And
fair.
I'm not paid to say that, I promise.
Okay. Though you should be, right? Let's be clear. I'm gonna
I mean, I would love brand ambassadors.
we should yes. I could see it because you do so much great work and especially when we see the complicated levelness of it. I'm gonna zoom in on your camera a little bit more because I want people to see all these details.
See if I can make my brightness a
There we
little
go.
lower so that okay, I think
Oh
it works.
yeah. Oh, I see the silver. Yes. Oh, look at that shine. Okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
so this is like a metallic powder that you have to mix. There's with mixing liquid. It's literally called mixing liquid. Um,
I love it when they're non-creative. I look at so many different makeup things. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. So when it says mixing liquid, I'm like, thank you.
yeah, so it's like super metallic and it's even more metallic than the original silver eyeliner I was using for Gamora. So
Mhm.
I was like, this was just an upgrade from the universe. Good thing I
Yes.
forgot it.
Yes. You needed this. This is a gift to yourself. I love that. Now, is it easier to kind of work within the stenciling of the silicone or do you kind of miss hand drawing?
I feel like it's definitely easier because I don't really have a steady hand as you would probably assume. And sometimes it gets a little shaky, but when taking pictures from far away, people don't realize how shaky the lines are.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, most people aren't getting like really close up to your face. At least I hope not. I feel like that would be a bit rude.
Yeah, I mean, personal space, please.
Now, is that a thing that you've experienced at cosplay or at cons, or have most people just been pretty respectful, excited, asking first beforehand?
Yeah, most people are, like, pretty respectful. There's always, like, the one-off, like, weirdo at cons, and I'm like, "Okay, whatever." You can tell that they're gonna be weird, and I'm just like, "Okay, I'll be friendly to them,"
Yeah.
and then when they walk away, I'm like, "Ugh."
Breathe, shake
Actually,
it
at
out.
New York Comic Con, I had when I was Hobie, there was one guy that he kept bothering me about my guitar because it was a real guitar, but it was a broken guitar to actually play it. It was, like,
Oh,
severely out of tune,
yeah.
and it's an electric wouldn't even be able to hear it without an amp.
Yeah.
Just like he's like, "Can you play that thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, like, I'm okay at guitar. I wouldn't, like, be shredding in front
Yeah.
like, even if it did work, I would not be shredding in front
Yeah.
of everyone. And he's like, "Play something," and I'm like, It's broken." And then
Yeah.
he's power chord. No.
No, it's like, I've already said no, just drop it. Please move
Yeah.
on to something else. I think that's kind of a sign of just trying to learn how to interact with people and respecting their boundaries and the cues they provide, right? And
Yeah.
even the practice of it. I think even here on Twitch or in cons, especially, there's a lot of opportunities for people for the first time to learn how to interact with others in respectful and engaging ways. It's kind of like when you go to an art gallery, right? You're not supposed to touch the art. You stand behind the line, like there's only so close that you're supposed to get to it.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
It's kind of that same respect for cosplayers, right? And understanding like you have your space, it has to be requested. Like if I want to get close to you to take a picture, it's that mentality, right?
Yeah. Luckily, I've never had any issues with people, like, touching me
Mhm.
without asking. Like, I've even had people ask, like, "Oh, can I put my arm around you for this picture?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine."
Yes, yeah.
Um,
And it's not a
I
surprise
do
then.
Yeah. I do hate when people take pictures without asking me because I'll, like, notice a camera pointed at me, and I'll
Mhm.
be in the middle of talking or yawning or something, I don't know, and I'm like, "You could've like, if you asked me, I could've at least gotten ready for the picture and posed for it, but now
Yeah.
there's, like, this embarrassing thing back there." Like,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
walking around and being tired because cons are exhausting.
Well, they are, right? And keeping that kind of face, though, it's a smart choice then to choose someone like Amora who can have like a naturally grumpy face. So I think
Yeah.
smart choice there. But But yeah, I think this is also incredibly gracious and kind of you because it's not like you're going to say no. You're like, I just want you to also have a good picture so I can
Yeah.
be represented the way I want. And then you have something that you want to share on social media or wherever you're posting it.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
you'll have a picture of someone who, like, actually posed and smiled or you interacted with them instead of just, like, a complete stranger that you took a picture of because you thought they looked cool.
Yes. Yes. I absolutely agree. I see Ben's right brain. Yeah. The guitar came out so good. Honestly, your work is fantastic. I see James the Nerd. Yeah. You can't recognize already the reoccurring traumatic experience when you put on the full green paint. What is it like though yeah, as being the queen of transformation, what is it like to put this on and then look at yourself in the mirror and be like, this isn't you. Like or is it?
Honestly, I'm super proud of how far I've come with doing makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, as you see, I have not contoured yet.
Yeah.
I go out without contouring, and I'll look back at those pictures and I'm like, Why did I do that?"
I,
And then when I see, like, how much of a difference contouring has made, I'm like, "Wow, I'm just this character now." Um, and I'm proud of how far I've come, and even people will call me a chameleon, and I'm like, "That's such a compliment."
I love that. I can see where we're getting the groundwork for it. I'm excited to see your process in contouring. I'll be honest, I know so little about contouring. I remember at some point when it was initially the first hype of contouring where it was like Kim Kardashian's contouring and that's all I understood and whenever I've tried to mimic whatever mapping I've seen out there, I'm like this I don't blend. This is not good for me. So I'm excited that we get to see this process. And I'm also excited like I know that you've already come in part of the way. Goodness, my articulation's terrible today. Part of the way through this because it's we get to take our time and see all the detail because we think like, oh, step 1, you put on green paint. Step 2, you just highlight the silver marking. Step 3, we start doing contouring, right? And it feels so simple as we go through it, but it's time that it takes to
Yeah.
invest in doing it right, of getting in all of those grooves to make sure there's enough there so it shines, to have the coverage that it's clear and equal and clean all the way across, right? there's a technique that even though it's these clear steps, it can't be rushed. It can't be something that you speed through if you want to like how the end result is.
Yeah, exactly. Um, wait, what was the question there? Contouring?
Oh, it was more just general commentary, but
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I just like in your process of how you take time on this. Let me in full time, if we hadn't done the partial get ready, how long does it take you to do a full Gamora setup?
So last time I did it was for New York Comic Con, and it took me 2.5 hours to get ready.
Wow.
And the process, honestly, the longest part of it,
Yeah.
um, especially when they're brand new because they come with like this edge around them that you have to like kind of separate from the prosthetics, but you don't cut them because then the edges are weird. So you have to use acetone. So you have to like take a Q-tip and rub the edge of it with acetone to like separate it. And that part was already done, so it took less time to do the prosthetics today. But it's just like that's how they arrive.
How strange. I would think like
Yeah,
they'd come like ready to go and it's like nope, now you got to personalize them a little bit
yeah.
more.
Um, when I first did it, I cut it with scissors and it didn't look right and I messed it up, but so I had to get like a whole second set.
What? Okay. That's crazy. So does it come typically with instructions to say like, and here's your little bottle of acetone and
It didn't come with a bottle of acetone, but it
okay.
did come with instructions that I didn't read.
Okay, I would be guilty of the same thing. I will admit, there's too many times where I've like, I could figure this out. This seems straightforward enough. You know, I've seen a YouTube video or two in my life. I can just
Yeah.
cut corners here. So, are there any corners that you have ever felt comfortable cutting? You're like, you know what, I can just duct tape this, or this will be good enough. Are there moments in your cosplay where you feel more comfortable in making those decisions versus I need to make sure this is exact?
Um, so the first thing that comes to mind is actually when I'm making content at home. I have very large curly hair that's tucked under right now in braids,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to braid my hair while it's wet, and sometimes I don't want to do all that. So I'll put my hair in a low bun
Yeah.
and it'll be sticking out from the back of the wig. And so, like, if I'm making TikToks or like a post on Instagram,
Yeah.
most of the time my hair will probably be sticking out of the back of the wig.
No one needs to know. They don't see those
Yeah,
sides.
you're not gonna see the back, but if I'm going to a con, I'm like, I need to hide my hair.
That's fair. That's smart and gives you a little bit more breathing room. You're like, listen, people are gonna see the front, or they're only gonna see this left side. So what's ever behind here is perfectly fine. Like if you need to
Don't
cinch
worry
the
about
jacket
it.
or have your hair pop out a little bit on the back, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No one's gonna know. Well, I mean, well now we'll
No one's
know. Everybody
gonna know.
here and in chat will now know when they look like she took these pictures at home. I bet there's I bet her hair's sticking out. Now we know
Yeah, if
the
you look at
secret.
my Instagram with any of, like, the pictures with just, like, the solid colored background and I'm
Yeah.
wearing a wig, just know my hair is sticking out of the back.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, they're gonna know. They're absolutely gonna know. But I that's important because when we look at Instagram, I mean, your photos are beautifully curated. Everything looks like
Yeah.
it's supposed to be where it is. And honestly, it's one of those steps that makes cosplay feel a little more accessible to be like, listen, I just didn't bother sticking it all the way in. That's okay. Because I also still cannot figure out wigs. I have no idea how to hide all my hair in and pin it
I'm
where
still
it's
learning
natural.
too.
What did you find hopping into the cosplay community, right? Before really you like when you were still using eyeshadow as uh face coverage on that end. Did you find it intimidating in the cosplay community and wanting to hop in or attend or talk with others in that space?
I think when I was, like, at my first convention, I was very intimidated
Mhm.
because I've never done anything like that before, and just seeing, like, the scale of some cosplays, it was just something like, things I've never seen before, and I honestly didn't start, like, communicating with people and exchanging social with them until this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, was it where do you can let me start with this even. Where was it easier for you to start connecting with others in this space?
I think it was definitely last year at New York Comic Con. It was I just took more time to just stop and have conversations with people.
Mhm.
Because before it would just be like, "Oh, I stopped, took a picture with someone, took a picture of someone wants to take a picture of me," and that it would be the end of that.
End off. Yeah, yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
"We did the
But
encounter,
then
that's it."
decided to, like, slow down, and it was also my first year going to a con for multiple days in a row, so I, like, was able to I wasn't, like, rushing to see everything,
Mhm,
and I'm like, "I'll be back tomorrow if I miss it." So I started talking to people, exchanging social media tags with them,
mhm.
and just keeping in touch. And now, like, some of my best friends I've met through cosplaying.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. But see, like that's where it's kind of curious because some people might be intimidated, yeah, going to cons or they're only there for one day, so they're like, I have to split my time between connecting and making friends and also just seeing all of the con, right? Like if you go to New York
Yeah.
Comic Con and you
Yeah,
only
there's
have
so
one
much to
day,
see.
that's not enough time. Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of everything. But so you started to grow and connect. Who are some of your favorite people in the cosplay space?
Um, so
Besides yourself, you can be your own favorite person, but in addition to you.
in addition to me, I mean, do you want me to name?
Up to you. Up to you.
Okay, well, some of my best friends are like, Ben's right brain, who I know is in the chat right now.
There he is.
Um, and Sass Guardians, she's a phenomenal cosplayer. Like, I look up to her, honestly. She makes things without patterns. I don't know how to do that yet. I make everything from patterns.
I can't read a pattern, so trust me, you're still decades ahead of me.
I know James the Nerd is probably in there too.
Yes, yes, earlier
Yeah, those are
on.
some of my friends.
Spot on.
And
No,
I've
that's
met all
good.
of them through going to conventions and stuff,
Mhm.
and honestly, I, like, hang out with people outside of cons, and we for things that are non-cosplay related, and it's just amazing, and it makes me
Yeah.
so happy.
I love that. What it's been like to kind of go from doing this in your own isolated process for years to now say like, "Hey, I've got cosplay friends. We have communities. They when I send them pictures, they know what I'm doing. It's not just the friends randomly guessing, right?" Well, what is it
Yeah,
like to have that community now?
um, it's honestly amazing, like, I can just confide in them and about real life stuff, but also if cosplay is giving me a hard time and I don't know what to do, like, they'll offer solutions.
Mhm.
And we also just, like, have a great time together, we laugh, we, like, make memories, and I feel like I'm creating lifelong with these people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is because the work you're doing is meaningful. It's creative. It is a clear kind of pathway to create connections that are valuable and real.
Yeah.
I love this. Okay, so we've got the brush back out. What are we doing? Touch ups, contouring? What is
So
this?
this is contour with
Okay.
eyeshadow, I sticking to my roots.
Eyeshadow. Okay. Talk me through this.
So I have a dark green eyeshadow from this very colorful palette I have here,
Ooh.
and I haven't even watched any contouring videos. I've learned how to contour through drawing
Uh-huh.
and taking, like, art classes in college and knowing where shadows go.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know that be darker around my hairline and, like, where my cheeks are, like, that's where, like, shadows would naturally hit.
Okay.
And then you wanna make, like, the sides of your nose darker, see your nose better,
Oh.
you know? Just I can see a shadow right here, so, like, that contour.
Okay. Okay. I'm watching. I'm brushing inwards. Okay.
And, like, defining my cheekbone a little more. Like
Let me close my mouth real quick. I just realized I'm just staring there. Wow. Okay, like a small child. Okay, okay. And so thinking about natural shadows, I guess my face is super round, so I don't think like I have more of a face like a balloon. So when I think of like natural shadows on my face, I don't see them. But but it's good to think about that for others like if I want more of that face shape to kind of mimic
Yeah.
that. So do you typically try to highlight and embrace the features that you have or do you try to match more of the cos or the facial features of the person you're cosplaying as?
I like to think I do a little bit of both.
Okay.
'Cause, like, with Gamora, like, Zoe Saldana has, like, insanely pronounced cheekbones, so I,
Cheek.
like, sculpt my cheeks a little more.
Yeah.
But, like, when I contour my nose, I kind of just do it as it naturally is because I feel like it looks unnatural if I do anything else.
That's
I've
fair.
tried and I'm like, this doesn't look like my nose. I don't like it.
And then that's part of it, like bringing yourself into it a little bit, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a comfort, but also there's an appreciation of our own beauty that we bring into spaces.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want people to not recognize me because as much as I am a chameleon,
Mm-hmm.
I want people to know it's me. And I even at New York Comic Con this year, I had two people see me as not know who I was until I was like, it's Lexy, and they were like,
It's
what?
you. Okay, that's a compliment though. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it definitely was, but it was
Yeah.
so funny. I'm like, hi, and I'm standing right in front of me, and I told them I was doing Gamora at New York Comic Con, and they're
And
like,
right
who
over.
are you?
This one, are you this one? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great. Okay, so we also do underneath the nose, like the little undertip.
Yeah, because like it like separates my I guess my
Oh,
lips from my nose a little bit more.
okay. That
You
actually
can
makes me think
better
that,
than you could before, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, no, it's much more defined. I think that makes sense. I just today I was checking TikTok and I was reminded like Evanescence, one of their albums is heading their anniversary. So there's a new filter for their old photo album. And she's like, look, I still don't have a nose from it because of the way the photo was edited. And it makes me think of the same thing like, well, maybe with contouring, like to help it separate and pop more. That's what she needed this entire time was
Yep,
just
that's
more
exactly what
contouring.
it is.
Now, I do
Okay.
imagine for cosplay, contouring's a little more harsh, like for like on the same level as like theater performance, like you
Oh,
make it
yeah,
much
for
more
sure.
distinct.
I
Okay.
would not contour this darkly, with my normal makeup.
Sharp features across the board. Okay.
Now
All
I
right.
just got, like, a little bit of a dark green lipstick.
Okay. Now, is there a reason people paint on lipstick instead of just taking the stick itself and just going straight to town with that?
It honestly depends for me, I feel like I get more pigmentation with the brush.
Okay. I'm sorry if that was a dumb
Um
question. In my brain, I'm like, I don't know if there's a difference or not.
That's just what I do, I don't know if other people have other reasons.
Hmm.
Uh, but for me, that's how I get most of the pigmentation, and especially because like, this dark green that I have is not, uh like, it's not as pigmented as, like a black lipstick would be.
Yeah. So, is this another brand where we buy our lipstick? Because I don't think I've ever seen that kind of shade at Walgreens.
Yeah, this lipstick is kind of faded, so
Okay,
I don't recall what brand it is,
fair enough.
and I
It's a
can't
secret.
read it. Like,
Keep your
I like,
secrets. It's okay.
scraped the name of it off.
No one will ever know what I'm using. No, no, no.
Neither will I if I run out.
What was it? Dang, that's harsh. But fair enough. But I like knowing the techniques and what matters because sometimes you see people do things a certain way and think like, okay, well that's the way that it has to be done. Like I have never done the paintbrush on there mainly because I didn't want to clean another brush afterwards. I'm just
Um
lazy.
No, I will definitely use lipstick, like, as a lipstick when I can, but
Hmm.
I just find that, like, with this one, it just is really hard to show up.
Okay. Fair. Fair. I see a lot of support. The art of shape shifting. Gamora Slay. Proud of you. Absolutely. You got some fans here in chat.
Aw,
Now,
I love them.
I know that you enjoyed it, right? From your Halloween story and kind of expanding beyond October and your friends' party that they had and enjoying it a little bit more. But what is cosplay to you? What does it add to you and why you keep doing it, investing time, relationships, all of this into it?
I feel like for me, when it comes to choosing what cosplays I do, I like to pick characters I feel a connection to.
Hmm.
And granted, like, when I first chose Gamora, I don't think I really felt a connection to her character as much as I do now. Because of cosplaying her, have grown to love her even more than I already did. And, like, she's just such a strong, independent woman and, like, such a badass that I aspire to be.
Hmm. Yes. Yes. Take that
But, like,
energy.
in other scenarios, I'll use Scarlet Scarab from Moon Knight for an example. She is, like, the first Egyptian superhero, and I am Egyptian. Like, I'm natively like, my nationality is Egyptian,
Mhm.
and I like never thought to see myself represented in media.
Mhm.
And when I saw her on my screen, I like I actually started crying. Oh my gosh, we have an Egyptian superhero.
Oh,
So that was like one cosplay that also means so much to me. I will be wearing her at WinterCon this coming up in December.
I'm excited.
Um, and yeah, I love just feeling connected to characters just and I'm just a creative person who loves to make things, who loves to do makeup, and it also ties into, like, how I used to be a theater kid,
Mhm.
and I get to act like them a little bit.
Yeah, stay true to your roots. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. But you
and it just, like, being able to meet people at conventions now adds to it because it's
Yeah.
like, wow, people that like, I get to see my friends when I go to these conventions,
Yeah.
and it's very exciting.
Yeah. Well, it's a whole experience that way. And it sounds much more fulfilling than when it was just here you are showing, taking pictures, but it's a community. There's joy
Yeah.
to be gained out of that. You mentioned a lot of important things that I think resonates not only with other cosplayers, but for a lot of people who are trying to find themselves and when they engage in movies or TV shows or anime or video games, right? It's one of those chances where we get to see ourselves or we get to see the people we want to be, right? Like choosing with Gamora and seeing the confidence and the badassery that she brings every single time, and being able to siphon that, to embody that. I want to touch into that first a little bit. What is it like? And I like the phrase that you said that you get to wear her. I know you were mentioning, of course, your other, but like instead of like dressing up as, but wearing her, I think is a very interesting language choice as you embody each of these different cosplays. What is it, especially let's start with Gamora because that's the one we're doing today, right? Um, what has it been like each time, like this process that not just the first, but the second that you gain from dressing up as Gamora, or sorry, dressing up as her, being her?
Yeah. So I feel like Gamora especially gives me a lot of confidence. And that's something I used to struggle with a lot when I was younger, but I feel like I don't as much anymore.
Hmm.
And every time I've been her, I feel like I hold myself higher
Yeah.
and I feel like I'm just like this badass woman. Like I am her right now and I'm unstoppable, you know?
Yes. Yes. Own that. Own that. Uh, and so does that transfer pretty easily for you into real life? Like day one you're wearing cosplay, next day you're like I keep that same energy. Like it just transfers and it's part of you.
I feel like a lot of the time I do. I used to be like a very introverted. I still can be sometimes depending on like the people I'm around.
Hmm.
But even I feel like my family would see me as like, "Oh, I'm the quiet cousin," or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I was always the youngest and I was always the shyest, but I feel like even more recently, like, they probably have noticed that I am not as, like, closed off as I used to be, and I feel
Mm.
like, especially in the past year, I've a lot of confidence in general,
Yes.
and I feel like it definitely shows, like, I feel it, and I think the people that love me have noticed it.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I like that. So, besides Gamora, are there other characters who you also choose to cosplay to take on their type of energy?
Um, I mean, I feel like Disco Loki is definitely one where I just love the energy. I like
Yes.
whenever I bring her to a con, I'm like, I'm bringing the party.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we are.
Like that's her purpose there. I'm here to have fun and everyone around me is gonna have fun, whether they like it or
Yeah.
not.
You must enjoy this. Is there a whole playlist that comes with Disco Loki?
Yeah, there
Okay.
is. I made a playlist called Loki at the Disco.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. I Is that on Spotify because I would like
It
to
is.
follow. Okay, good. Thank you.
Maybe I should have added it to my link tree.
Yeah, please. You should. I feel like people would
I
love
should.
that. Um
I'll do it during the 5-minute break.
okay, thank you. Thank you. I think that would be a fantastic takeaway for everyone. Uh, I think that's fun. It's energetic. Uh, let's go back to one of the other so when we're talking about Moon Knight, right? On this end, and the representation. Now, cosplay is great because I mean, as we see right now, you can become anyone, you can be anyone, and you can dress up as anyone. And that's kind of the beautiful ownership of that. I know, of course, in the cosplay communities, there's different challenges. And even outside of it, right? In the latest Ariel movie, people sometimes get upset with how representation is told or who gets to own it. And that's why it's
Right.
so important to continue to have discussions and have the retellings of these characters. But what was it like to have someone who represented you where it wasn't this new creation, but it tapped into something of who you already are?
It was definitely a very surreal experience for me, especially because earlier that year before Moon Knight even came out,
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with my boyfriend about like how feel like I've never been represented wait, why can't
My
I've never been
articulation bug
represented
has
in
tacked
media.
you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I feel like I've myself on screen, and whenever like there's like a Cleopatra, it's always whitewashed, straight hair, stuff like that. And there's like even Cleo Denio in Monster High, who I don't feel connected to, even though she's like the mummy character, but she's got straight hair. And I'm like, this isn't this like
Mhm.
Egyptians have curly hair
Yeah.
and dark skin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, And I was like, I even said, I'm like, I don't think I'll ever get any sort of like accurate representation. That's probably like I said that. And then a couple months later, I'm watching the finale of Moon Knight and like
You're
she comes out with her wings and I'm like
like,
freaking out. I'm crying.
yeah, yeah,
I'm like from like I definitely in that moment I was like, that's what I'm wearing to New York Comic Con this year.
yeah, sold.
Like before the episode even finished, I was like, I'm like, that's it. I have
Yes.
and I
But it is because it resonated with you immediately. Like you saw yourself in the character.
like
Like,
she has my hair. Like I
yes.
look like her. And even like my friends were just like, so when are you doing a Layla cosplay? And I'm like, immediately as soon as possible.
Everyone knew. Everyone knew. But that speaks to how important it is to want to see ourselves and see those around us to feel like they belong in all of these stories that we're being told. And sure, yeah, there's parts like, yeah, we can connect with characters because we admire their confidence. We admire how awesome they are or how cool they are at fighting or for whatever reasons. But it's also something to say like I admire the character not only for what they have, but because they have what I have. And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
powerful. I love this. Um and so when you're I can't wait to see the pictures from WinterCon. You better take a bunch, right? Please.
Of course.
Okay, good.
I mean, Layla exists on my Instagram right now. You just have to
Yeah.
scroll pretty far to get there,
Okay, that's where
but
I need to go then. That's where
but
but
there will be more pics, and I do plan on doing a little bit of upgrades to her because
Ooh.
I had like cloth wings before, but I want something like a little more sturdy.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, and that'll give a different texture look to it as well.
Yeah,
Which I mean, hers are I mean, they're sharp. They look
yeah, they're
murderous.
like metal.
Yeah.
I
That sounds too
probably can't
heavy.
legally
Yeah.
go out of convention.
But it's so exciting to have that. I want to know for you, how do you think cosplay fits into the space of greater nerdom, right? So, I mean, there's already critics, there's streamers, there's reviewers, there's just the viewers themselves, there's the actors who create them or the artists who draw them. Where does cosplay fit in the value or the community of nerds? Because I'm just going to say that's where we all kind of fit, right?
Yeah.
We're obsessed with these great stories. How do we want to bring them to life?
I feel like the cosplayers really like help especially like with movies coming out, but like before they even come out, I feel like cosplayers really help with like hyping up, like making other people excited
Hmm.
and just like seeing someone in a cosplay that you're unfamiliar with sometimes makes you want to ask questions or just like,
Hmm.
wow, this is so cool. Like, where is this from? I need to know.
Yeah.
I actually felt that way with Our Flag Means Death. I don't know if you know that show.
Yes. Amazing.
I had never heard of it before, but I started seeing people cosplay them, and I was like, I need to get on this. Like, what is this?" And I was immediately obsessed with the show. I love Taika Waititi.
Yes. Yes. He's amazing all on his own. But I think yeah, I get to your point. Like, if there are people enough who love it to cosplay at it, you're like, there's something there. There's got to be
Yeah,
some gold
exactly.
behind this, you know?
Yeah.
No one goes, you know what? I really hated this show, but I'm gonna cosplay them anyway, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
that's not what's happening. So I think that's right. Like it adds to the hype. And I think of how many companies these days employ cosplayers in that process. Cons, first of all, hype them up all the time. They want to
Right.
showcase. That's part of the con experience. Even if you're not a cosplayer, I'm disappointed when a con doesn't have cosplayers. Like
Oh, sure.
right? Like you want to see it. You want to see the experience. It helps with the immersiveness. So many video games. I know Baldur's Gate was doing a bunch with hiring cosplayers and bringing them to cons to help bring the characters to life on that end. I see James the Nerd posted that you were on a giant poster at the con. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So from the year before when me and my boyfriend went as the Scarlet Scarab and Mr. Nate,
Hmm.
there was a Getty Images photographer that stopped us and was like, "Can I take your picture?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." We posed for a couple pictures. I like went digging on Getty Images like later that day,
Yes.
like after the week, because I was like, I need to find these pictures. And then um my friend is a real he went before the con, like 2 days before, to pick up his tickets from Will Call, and he like sent me a picture and was just like, "Oh, superstar." And I was like, "Where is that?"
That's
So like
amazing.
Will Call had like a giant banner where they were just highlighting a lot of amazing cosplayers from the year before. And seeing my face up there, I was like, "That's insane."
That's me. That's me. They're like, this. All right, Lexy
Yeah,
is one of
I sent pictures to
yeah.
my mom and my sisters, and I was like, "Guys, look, I made it."
You're amazing. But that's a standard where they're saying like we want cosplayers like Lexy. If you look at this like this, these are the people we want. These are the people we want to highlight. This is the epitome of the experience here. And there you are. You are front center stage as the absolute poster cosplayer, right? Like we can say that now.
Yeah.
You're the
And of
poster
all
cosplayer.
cosplays too, like, that definitely would have been one of the ones I select like, I was like, "That needs to like, this
Yeah.
needs to get shown off."
It's the one you wanted to showcase. And that's insane. Also, I'm kind of surprised that you were surprised about it. I didn't know, like, I guess when you go to cons, you sign details to say like, yeah, they can take pictures. But I guess it would
Yeah,
have
when you
been
buy
nice.
tickets, there's, like, a pretty much a contract that probably
Yeah.
says something like that in
Yeah.
there.
Well, like it would have been nice to know, like, hey, not that they have to ask your permission, at least because you've already signed it, but like a heads up, like, we're gonna use you in a big poster, just so you
Yeah.
know. You know, like I mean,
Right.
who's gonna say
I
no to
mean,
Comic
I
Con?
feel like if anything, like, the Getty Images photographer, because they probably had no idea how they could contact me,
That's
but the
true.
Getty Images photographer probably could've been like, "Hey, Comic-Con bought your picture."
Yeah, yeah, just a heads up. Small little
Yeah.
note. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Because
But it was a nice surprise. I was very excited.
oh yeah, ride that high. Hello, this popularity. I love that. No, I mean it's amazing. Like that's one of the moments where I just I can't imagine what it'd be like to see that and have people messaging you like, "Hey, you're freaking famous," right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, your
And it's just like
character.
to hear it from a friend is also like super cool. Like, oh my
Mhm,
gosh, like
mhm.
you're while you're at
There you are.
it.
You're out in the wild. I mean, that's celebrity mode there. When you
Yeah.
first got that message, or even when you first saw it, what did you think?
Well, at first I was like super confused because I'm like,
Mhm.
wait, where? Because he wasn't even like specific about it. He
Yeah.
just sent me. No, he didn't even send it to me. He posted it on his Instagram and tagged me.
So you got to
And it was
find out
like a
alongside
super zoomed
everyone
in
else.
picture. And I'm like, I need this picture in a bigger context. And I like started digging to see if like, oh, are other people at Will Call, have they posted anything about being at Will Call? And then
Yeah.
like I saw a further away picture of like all the
Hmm.
pictures.
Okay.
Um and I was like, it was my mission to find wherever that was so that I could like take a picture in front of it.
Yes. Yes. You're like, I need the exact coordinates. Please send this to
Yeah.
me so I can get the picture I want instead of the zoomed in
Yeah.
Instagram story. I love that though. That's insane. Okay. Back to the look. I saw we do this beautiful kind of yellow gold eyeshadow, put on this. Honestly, you made it look so easy to do the wing liner on there, like straight across. I hate you. You're good about
I'm a
it.
veteran at doing the wing.
That's insane. I'm jealous. I don't hate you, but I hate how skilled you are. Um, I'm very jealous. Clean, beautiful. We're at the hour break, so we're going to take a small break. But when we come back, what are we looking at for next steps?
So this is pretty much the finished face. So the next step would be to put on my wig. I used to paint my arms, but this year I did arm socks for the first time. So I'm gonna
Oh.
put on and then the coat.
I think arm socks is a really funny name. I'm excited to talk
It
more
is.
about this soon.
They're essentially gloves, but we call them arm socks.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right, friends, you hear that? We're gonna take 5-minute break. Get your water, get your bathroom, get your snacks, all that you need, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna finish this Get Ready with Me. Lexy will be back in 5. Okay, friends, we are back from break. And guess what? We have a beautiful, amazing Gamora in front of us. Lexy, tell us about these final steps that you've been taking in your transformation. Holy cow.
It's kind of dark in here. She wears black, but
It is amazing. The full look.
so of the coat, which is a necessity. I feel like the coat definitely gives me a personality.
Yes, yes. This is
The arm socks, which I have nails glued to it so that it looks more like my natural hands. That's a trick I learned from Jamie Bear Fancy Pants.
what? Okay.
And with the boots,
Okay, yeah. Yes.
one of my favorite details about Gamora's costume is just that her heel kind of has like it's like
The curve.
yeah.
Yeah, in there.
So
Yes.
yeah, that's one of my favorite details that I feel like I don't see a lot of cosplayers do when they do Gamora.
Mhm.
And really something I wanted to include in the costume.
Yeah, you're like, I gotta
So
nail this. We're gonna get it in here.
yeah.
I love all of these details from the wig, right? We get these beautiful, bold colors. The red pops nicely from the green. And I love the fact that you're, what do we, sock arms, sock gloves,
Arm socks.
arm socks. That's it. I was so close. The arm socks match the face paint, which is probably why you're like, this is the face paint we have to go with.
Yeah.
Smart choice.
Actually had to dye the arm socks to match the face paint.
What? Really? Okay, I
Yeah,
thought it was the
because
other way around.
there's a website. So I got these from colors. And they have like so many shades of so many colors,
Yeah,
but they didn't have one that matched this green paint.
of course not.
Yeah, it was like just my luck. I had to dye them. It was a lot of trial and error.
Wow.
They like came out too yellow the first time, and then I like added blue to them, and it was just it was just
And now we're
like
doing
I felt like
Avatar.
a chemist mixing all these like, okay, what if I mix
Yeah.
this much of this color and this much?
You're like hovering over on your kitchen table, just like doing
Yeah.
small test dyes. I love
Yeah.
it. I can picture it. The audio caught out for just a hot second. Where did you get the arm socks from?
We love colors.
We love colors. Okay. This might sound weird. Can we see like what it like actually how the arm glove looks like?
Yep,
So
but
it hides all the way. Sorry, from the tight jacket. That jacket does
no,
look
it's
really
okay.
awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
Like I love the details. We got to see the makeup, but like all of these
So it
extra
does go all
things.
the way up. It kind of rolls
Oh,
down a little bit because it just like kind of disconnects. But they have where you can do like a shirt that like goes all the way up. But I wanted to be able to paint my chest because I feel like having the line
yeah.
of the separating from my skin, I was like, this is probably the best one. I
Mhm.
won't take off the coat. Hopefully, it's not too hot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great choice. That's kind
Yeah.
of cool. And then it just cinches up there. Okay. This is sorry. This feels like we get the tour behind the scenes and I'm enjoying this. What a cool tactic. Now, where did you get the bodice looks great, the jacket looks great, the boots. Where do you find all of these to piece it together?
So there are a lot of like you can either buy like fully made costumes
Mhm.
or like from certain websites and Etsy shops, but you can also get patterns.
Yeah.
I feel like patterns are a lot harder to find sometimes,
Mhm.
but luckily more I was able to find a pattern for like the top and the jacket. The pants are just black leather leggings that have pockets because we need pockets at cons.
Yes. Yes.
And then the boots, like hanging out with some cosplay friends at the mall,
Mhm.
happened to go inside a DSW, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, these
Perfect.
boots, if I just add like some foam clay to the bottom of it, I can make that like hollow shape." So I just like bought the boots right then and there.
That's so clever. That is so clever. And just to think like, here's how I can take it. If I just transform it a little, it'll meet my needs. So you have, all right. So you know how to work with foam clay. You know how to sew from scratch. You know how to do face makeup and silicone adaptations and like, I feel like my list keeps getting longer and longer of the skills you've had to master to create just this look. That's insane to me. Plus, you're
I
great at
mean, yeah,
gluing.
like the wig was definitely like a slight struggle because this is my
Yeah.
first lace front wig, which
Yeah.
I accidentally like have the wig on the lace But like this is one of the most natural wigs I've ever had for any of my cosplays.
It looks
Used
fantastic.
to straighten my hair for Gamora and then like use like that colored hairspray paint
Yeah.
on the end of it.
Oh, that's
And
all.
then comes like I think Comic-Con 2021, I went as Gamora with my hair straight, and I guess the humidity it was just so humid that like my hair looked like a disaster.
You're like, "Nope, this wasn't the plan. This was
I was
not
like
the
that I
plan."
think that was the last time
Yeah.
I've ever straightened my hair too.
I
So, I mean, it's
It's
healthy for
fair.
my hair, like, now I don't have to put heat on my hair, and it's healthier, and
Mhm.
I embrace my curls when I can.
Yeah, that's fair. As someone who's always concerned who dyes her hair, I'm like, sometimes I think it'd be easier if I just went with wigs and then I could do whatever color I wanted, you know?
Yeah, for cosplays, it's definitely easier, especially if you're doing, like, different cosplays throughout, like, 4-day weekend,
Yeah.
and, like, like, Disco Loki and Hobie required my natural hair,
Mhm.
whereas, like, Gamora and Roxanne
Yeah.
both were wigs.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love the natural hair for Loki just because it was so fun and it was so fresh and the energy that it brought to it. But I can see wigs definitely being essential. Now, you kind of mentioned like
Yeah,
the pockets or the humidity because sometimes we think like, oh, cosplay, pretty pictures, right? But you have to account for, yeah, the all day wear and you have to account for the weather and you have to account for like carrying everything around. Let's start first with the pockets, right? What is that like across the board for your cosplays when you're thinking like I'm gonna have a place to put my phone and my badge and money, right? Because
yeah.
or are you carrying like is that your boyfriend like you're also my purse today? Like
Yeah, that does happen a lot, especially when I buy, like, art or, like, anything from cons.
yes.
Um, but as for New York Comic Con, I was actually pretty good at having pockets in all of my cosplays except for Disco Loki because finding the perfect sparkly green jumpsuit was a nightmare, like, it was so hard to find.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it was, like, either, like, not the right shade of green or it wasn't, like they didn't have, like, the flared bottoms, and I'm like, "Bell bottoms are a must here. I can't
Yes.
have, like, straight, tight
No.
legs." Um, and I was just like, I had to sacrifice pockets to find a good jumpsuit.
No, but I get it, right?
Yeah,
Like in the choice of things. Because
yeah.
like there's a cleverness. Like, do we put them in pockets? Does she have like a bag that's a side satchel, or do they carry a backpack? Like, how do you like? There's an almost an art to hiding them too. Because even when you do have pockets, they have to still be pockets that can hide a wallet and a phone. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about your phone, but mine looks like a small brick. You know, like
Yep.
it's not the cute little tiny things anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really wasn't really worried too much about my phone being seen, especially when it's, like, all black, and I even
Mm.
to kinda cover the sides of my legs.
Yeah, that's smart.
Um, but, like, we do tote bag around for shopping,
Mhm.
for cards, battery packs, makeup touch-up things,
Oh, that's
some of
true.
the necessities.
Yeah, yeah. When you don't have the table you can go visit for makeup touches.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's switch right. Like let's talk about like the humidity or the environmental changes, right? WinterCon is coming up in New York, which I will never visit because that sounds freezing. But what is that like to get to the con first of all? And so you do have to go outside for a bit and to be traveling with the cosplay options. How do you make sure cosplay is intact? It's all the way that you want it to be, no matter what environment you have to exist in.
Well, I guess I with all my cosplays, I try to just make sure it's something that I could potentially just wear on a normal day. Not that I
Mhm.
would just go out to the mall as Gamora or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
but it's like, is this practical for going out?
Mm.
Like, is it gonna fall apart or is my makeup gonna come off in the rain? Which I actually almost had a problem with at New York Comic Con because the day that I wore Gamora was the only day that it rained. And I had, like, an umbrella that I was holding so close to my face.
You're like, no, I
And
cannot.
luckily, there was a coat check so that, like, I didn't have to worry about carrying the umbrella around all day.
Yeah.
But I don't know if all cons have that. It was just I knew New York Comic Con had that, and it was my first time actually having a need for a coat check.
Mm, mhm.
So I don't know, I'll have to keep an eye out at WinterCon for a coat check because Scarlet Scarab does not have any sleeves.
Yeah, yeah, there's no winter coat here that you're gonna be walking in on or, big
Yeah,
comfy winter boots if it snows or ices up there.
yeah. I mean, luckily those are like that cosplay has boots, but like I don't think those boots hold much warmth.
Yeah. Different environments where she was at. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Because those are again the longevity and how it works, and you don't want it to warp or melt away or fade or anything like that. That's the additional challenge because just like earlier when you said you want to pose, you want to take good pictures, you don't want to be 4 or 5 hours in and if you accidentally touch your face it's now smeared and people will
Yeah.
take pictures. You're like, I don't want that out
Yeah,
there. I don't
luckily
want to look
with
like that.
Mehron, the paint doesn't
That's
smudge. I've
amazing.
never had any problems with smudging.
Freaking magic. Okay, well now I'm upgrading all my makeup. I've learned. But I think it's an additional challenge to it. But I want to know, of course, you as a cosplayer, bef- if you could go back and talk to your fresh cosplay self before you went to any con, right before you went to your first one, what advice would you give yourself?
I would just say embrace the weird,
Okay.
you are a and you know it, and you're embarrassed of it.
Yeah.
Don't be embarrassed of it because if you embrace it, you'll be your best self. You'll be
Yes.
more confident than you've ever been. You'll meet people that you never thought you'd meet, and you'll have the most fun like, more fun than you could have ever imagined.
That sounds like such a freeing experience. I mean, the simple advice of be a weirdo, like, because you are, right? Like, embrace that.
Yeah.
And I say you, like, many of us, myself included, and chat, we're probably all like, we are weirdos, right? That's why we like and engage and follow is because we see the authenticity in what you're creating. And I think that is also why cosplay perhaps attracts a lot of people is there's a degree of not just beauty in what's being created and that theatrical component to it, but there's a vulnerability of showcasing your art to others and to wear it around.
Yeah. And it's definitely like everyone appreciates the work that like everyone else has done.
Mhm.
It's like I don't feel like I have anything to be embarrassed of. Usually like old me would be very like I don't know if I want to do this. I'm very embarrassed. Like what if nobody else is dressed up? But now I'm just like whatever, I'm going to own it. I'm going to
Yeah,
channel this character and just hold myself high.
I love that. I love that. That's such a good reminder for any of us, like as we try to share who we are in different spaces, to hold ourselves up high, be kind of unabashedly ourselves. What has it been like for you to share all of your amazing cosplays on social media, right? Because you are taking this approach not just at cons, right? But now you're creating more of a permanent online fixture as well, where it's not just like one time big events that you're going to that you can prepare and you get to interact with face to face. But now there are people on the internet behind different usernames and tags and accounts that are seeing, interacting, sharing your work.
I definitely was very like I didn't dive right into it because
Yeah.
that my current Instagram that I use that you follow was originally my like personal private Instagram where I would post everything like oh
Mhm.
look I graduated college or whatever
Yeah. Yeah.
or like it's my sister's birthday. I would post everything. And then I suddenly began to gain a following
Yeah.
and I was just worried about like my family and friends that or cosplaying who followed me, like, they don't want stuff, like, I don't want this thing that I post.
Yeah.
And then I ended up making, like, another Instagram for my, like, actual private life
Mhm.
events, and I'm like, "Okay, so you guys can see the stuff you wanna see, and then I'm gonna just post everything that I wanna post."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's probably a healthy way to create separation because this is now it's a brand. It's a business essentially when you're creating all of this content and you have so many people that want to take in and be inspired by your work, which is very different from like family and friends and the experiences and relationships that account serves.
Yeah.
What as your account has grown, well, let me say this first. What's your favorite social media platform?
It's definitely between TikTok and Instagram. Like, while I do enjoy making TikToks, it's very difficult to be consistent
Mhm.
with TikTok because I'm like, okay, I have to make all these videos at once and like try to follow trends.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
sometimes it gets hard to with, and it's very difficult to post consistently, especially if I take like if I were to take 10 TikToks tonight as Gamora and like post them one day at a time, I'd run out and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I need to like put on another cosplay soon and take more videos."
More
Whereas
time,
like
more effort.
yeah. And then when with Instagram, it's just like now that I have a lot of pictures from conventions,
Mhm.
I can like all those pictures little by like,
Yeah.
instead of like spamming everything
Mhm.
in one like across the whole entire weekend in like one day, or I just
Mhm.
post one pic at a time so I have things to post and keeping people engaged. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say Instagram is definitely, but like feel like I have more fun with TikTok.
That's fair. Right. Well, the TikTok material is more interactive, and it gives you
Yeah.
a chance to show the full movement and energy of it, which is always exciting. But yeah, Instagram is a little easier to manage, and the algorithm isn't as mean when we miss a date.
Right. No, and I've definitely had, like, that experience where, like, I'll post one thing on TikTok and then the exact same thing on, like, Reels,
Yeah.
and TikTok will just be a lot meaner sometimes.
Yes. Yes. The app. Right. People can still be all whatever, but the app
Yeah,
is just
but
like, no, I don't want to
people are
share.
like the comments, like, they could come in equal quantities, but then, like, the ones on TikTok are mean and the ones on Instagram are, like, so nice and supportive.
Wow. What has it been like to see that kind of extreme separation of like Instagram, positive, great supportive people, and then TikTok be like butt heads. Let's just say that. Right.
I definitely like it definitely puts me off from like reading comments and interacting with them on TikTok. Like, cause I like to interact with people
Yeah.
and like, cause like that's how I've made a lot of my friendships, is just like talking to people in the comments and then moving to the DMs. Like I actually
Hmm.
uh I was wearing a friendship bracelet earlier for somebody I met on the in the comment section
Oh.
on Instagram.
Oh.
She made me a Gamora friendship bracelet at Comic Con.
I love
And
that.
I had never met her in real life. We just
Yeah.
accidentally ran into each other at New York Comic Con, and I
Yeah.
was like she was Black Widow, I was Gamora, so I was like, "Oh my gosh, we have to, like, lay down on the ground and take a Vormir picture."
Oh no, that's so sad.
And and then, like, I already had this thought in my head, but I didn't say it out loud, and then she was like, "And when we post it, the song has to be Hey Soul Sister," and I was like, "Yes!"
Mhm. Mhm. That's terrible, but I love
And
it.
then she was like, "Wait," she's like, "I know you from Instagram, you're Lexy Carey, right? I made you this bracelet."
Just with the hopes like maybe I'll get a run into her and I can
Yeah,
hand
she
this off.
whole bag of friendship bracelets, and I, like,
Oh.
wear this thing, like, every day. I don't know if you saw while I was doing my makeup, but yeah, I did wanna talk about this friendship, like, bracelet because it's, like, the cutest thing ever from a person I, like, only had one conversation with online and
Yeah.
then met her in real life.
I love that though. I think people forget how important it is to put effort into building relationships. Like I don't maybe like after college suddenly it became so much harder. Right? Like connecting like people aren't just like next to me living in the same kind of apartment complex, right? That has similar challenges and interests and what we have. So when we do have these spaces, I think it's amazing she made a friendship bracelet because now it solidifies. Like that one act, you're like, we're friends forever. Like you can't get rid of me
Yeah.
now.
I was
Um,
like, "I'm never taking this bracelet off." I
yeah,
mean, only if I'm putting arm socks on so
yeah,
that
yes,
I could put it on top, but
it's perfect. It's
yeah.
perfect. But it's small moments like that, or like, yeah, having the conversations there and then saying, you know what, I'm gonna DM. Like I feel comfortable with them. I'm gonna share them an Instagram post that I saw that made me think of them, or have an extra conversation. It's being bold and willing to kind of start relationships, start connections, start community and friendships that really makes all of this worth it. I love that.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
I need to start making more friendship bracelets. That's what I'm doing as a takeaway.
Yeah, I like, the friendship bracelet was, like, the cutest thing ever, and then if you
Yes.
look at the picture we took of us laying on the ground, we're both wearing a friendship bracelet.
Okay, I need to find that. I need to see that, and
It's
that's
somewhere in my, like, New York Comic Con photo dump.
oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. That but that's so amazing. And I love these moments of heart. For you, as you see the cosplay community, right? And you're clearly an influencer in this space. Like you are just brilliant with your work. You connect with a lot of other amazing people. You're on a freaking poster, right? Like, what do you want to continue to see to make cosplay even better, to make it more of what you think it should be as more people join, as more animes and movies and film look towards the cosplay community? What do you hope for this?
Honestly, I just hope, like, that anyone who is, you know, standoff to do this, I just hope they learn to break out of their shell like I did and
Mhm.
embrace it and just I'd love to see more and more cosplayers, even though conventions are getting so crowded and we don't need more cosplayers, but, like, that's I don't want that to stop people from trying something new,
Yeah.
and, like, there are even people that like, in my life that I know who don't cosplay, who would have reached out to me for advice, like, "Hey, I wanna get into cosplaying," and I love that, like, I love to see people trying
Hmm.
something that I love and that they're coming to me for advice about it.
Yes, yes. I think that's a fantastic approach. We're like, you want more people to appreciate and experience all these good things, whether it's recreating death moments with your famous buddy, or getting the chance to create and live in the footsteps of the characters that we admire most, or value, maybe for our favorite villains as well. Do you always do heroes? I'm trying to think. I mean, Loki's kind of a mixed bag, but
Yeah, I guess I kinda do, but I have people on my cos plans that are villains. I've done a Harley Quinn before.
yeah.
I wanted Poison Ivy. I mean, I already got the green skin and the red
You're
hair.
like, check, check. Yeah, we're halfway there.
Uh,
Perfect.
I wanna do Jinx from Arcane.
Ooh,
That's another one.
yes. Great
Um,
attitude too. She's bold.
I mean, I don't know if you would consider Roxy a villain from Five Nights at Freddy's. She's not really a hero,
Yeah,
but
that's true. That's true. I think that counts. I think that's gray area that works out really
yeah.
well.
I mean, you're running for your life from her.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you do have such an interesting variety of what you choose, how you choose them, but all of them, I like. I will say, I only recognize the Five Nights at Freddy's. It is not one I don't do scary, so I don't know any of the story or elements behind it. But all the
Mhm.
others, right? These are strong women.
Yeah.
I see a
And so
very
is
different.
Roxy, even if you don't
Yeah,
know like,
yeah. I don't.
she's like, "I'm the best. I am the best."
Good, good. We'll take it. We'll take it. I think that's fantastic. But I think that's an interesting thread to see in all of yours. Like, even like if we think Poison Ivy, right? Like that's doesn't matter which kind of story you follow in that. Like, even the more recent one with Harley, like the connection and exploration of herself and the depth of her character. Poison Ivy's
Mhm.
fantastic. I love it. I love these choices. Was that purposeful? Like that you did have this thread, or was it just like, well, it just happens that that's what I
It
like,
just
I
happened.
guess.
I guess I have a favorite character type.
Yeah, yeah, you've got a type. Okay, okay. Also, I want to call out one small thing. When you call them cos plans, is it a cosplayer thing just to add cause in front of things? Like, this is cos plans, these are cosplays, these are.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't always call them cosplans, and then, like, I started hearing other people say cosplans, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, I guess that's, like, the term for a plan like, a cosplay that you have not yet done,
Okay.
but want to do."
Yes, I love it. No, teach me the jargon. So that way, if I'm in these spaces, I don't look like an absolute noob. Okay. Tell me, give me the language. I see in chat so many compliments. Or is like, you're so pretty. Even Danny
Mhm.
Webster, where is Gamora? Who is Gamora? Why is Gamora?
Oh, I love Danny.
So we'll follow up with, how is Gamora doing? How are you
Gamora see,
doing?
that's something I used to say. I'm like, "People are always asking, 'Why is Gamora?' But no one's asking, 'How is Gamora?'"
How are you? How are you doing? Like, in the midst of all
I'm
that you do.
I feel like I'm doing fantastic, especially, like, right now in this moment, but, like, also right now in this stage of my life, I feel like I'm doing really well.
Hmm.
I'm really happy, like, how far I've come, like, not only in cosplay, but just, like, with myself.
Mm,
I, like, just feel like I've grown so much as a person, especially in the past year,
yeah.
and I'm doing pretty well right now.
I want to thank Danny for reminding us to ask that question, because I think that's important to check in with us, and I'm glad you're doing well, right? What is it? I know that it's fantastic, of course, to find yourself in this place, but what has your journey been like to get you to a place where you can take care of yourself in such a way, to find yourself in such a fantastic place? As somebody who goes through plenty of ups and downs, right? Like,
Yeah.
I what has worked for you to put yourself in a position to be like, I'm happy, I'm doing
Yeah.
fantastic.
I feel like especially that I've been through a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not easy like to even figure what you need to do to make yourself feel good. Like sometimes I would just be lost and I'm like, I have no idea how to function. And it just like I really did I had to take a break from posting on Instagram for like a whole I don't even know how long. It was like most of the end of the summer.
Yeah.
um and just like figure out what I need and just to do the things I love. Like being creative is definitely something that helps me feel good, but it's just like I can be creative in other ways that's not just because sometimes cosplay can be intimidating, especially when you're making something new and you have like a limited time frame to do it. Like what it's September and Comic Con's in October, and that like can get very stressful. So like it's good to have like other creative outlets like playing an instrument or drawing or singing. I mean, I don't post myself singing because I don't think I'm that great of a singer,
Well,
but I did
good for
used to
you.
be in a very short-lived band in college.
What? What was it called? Can we get the name of it?
Slightly Sunny.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
It actually the name of it came from when I was in theater. Two of my favorite roles were Slightly from Peter Pan and Sunny from In the Heights. And then like especially while the shows were going on, like people would be like would call me by my character name, like
Yeah.
Slightly, what's up, or Sunny, what's up? And then there was like one person that would them and call me Slightly Sunny, and I was like, that sounds like a good band name.
You're like, here we go. What was the genre? I love this.
It was like alt music.
Okay,
I definitely
perfect.
I listened to a lot of like Paramore and 21 Pilots and Fall Out Boy, Blink
Hmm.
182.
Yep, yep.
Those are
All
some of
good
my
choices.
info.
But you are so well-rounded in your creative outlets, and I think that's a great takeaway for all of us to think like we don't have to just have tunnel vision, especially when something is successful. Sometimes we want to just pour all of our resources into that one thing until our love for it is gone forever.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It's, like, good to, like, spread out. I mean, I don't recommend this with people, but it's good to spread out your love to different things so that, like
right.
yeah, so that, like, you don't, like, do something until, like, you no longer love it anymore.
Yes. Yes. Maybe support systems if we were to take it to people. Like
Yeah.
have
Oh,
your
yeah, yeah,
friends.
like, you don't wanna, like, confide in just one person because like, maybe
Yeah.
that one person can't handle as much as you're, like, pouring onto them.
Yeah.
But like, just have your support system of people that love you and support you and are just always there for you unconditionally.
Yes. Yes. I think so many layers to this of insight, and I appreciate that because it is true. So, of course, you did a band, which maybe one day we'll get a reprisal of that.
Maybe, maybe.
Maybe just throw
I've
that
been
out
thinking
there,
about
just
it.
maybe you don't know. We know you also draw because you mentioned earlier about like drawing faces and how that helps with contouring. Tell us a little bit about that art. I mean, I know we of course did the get ready with me, but I feel
Yeah.
like knowing who you are fully as an artist, like, tell us about that.
So I am actually a full-time graphic designer. That's my day job. I went to college for graphic design.
Mhm.
But, like, when you take like, it's an art, but when you take any sort of art class, you have to take, like, the full curriculum. So you have drawing classes
Mhm.
and painting classes and things that you wouldn't normally even took a
Yeah.
silk screening class.
Wow, that sounds super
It was
fun, I
so
won't
much
lie. Yeah.
fun. Um, and honestly, when I went into college, like, I would doodle here and there. I
Mhm.
wouldn't call myself an artist, but, taking classes, it really does teach you a lot about like it prepares you for graphic design because like you can see art in another like context and like understand how to translate it to digital.
Hmm.
And I like we would have very basic like here's a sphere. This is where like the shadows of a sphere goes, and then here's like where the highlights
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Start with
And
the
then we would
fundamentals.
eventually learn like we would have models that we'd have to draw, and then it just like I from like like doing all like the shadows and lighting studies like like I know how to see that on my face now.
Hmm. Yes. I mean, I can see like the edge of the contours coming in from behind your hair, coming beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The shading around the face. I think that's interesting to see how, as you feed different aspects of your artistic side, that they bleed in and inform the others. I think that's absolutely fascinating. So, with your art, what do you like to draw or
Um
create as you design?
yeah,
You don't have to talk about your work if you don't want to, but like on
yeah.
your personal hobby
When
side.
it I'm actually like a big huge D&D nerd, so a lot of the time I'll draw my D&D characters.
We could have been talking to okay. I want to know more about your D&D character in a hot minute. Okay, so you draw one, that's amazing. No, we're going to skip to it. Tell us about your D&D character right now. I have
So
to
I have 3
Okay.
D&D characters.
Okay. Perfect.
My main one is her name is Willow. She is a tiefling blood hunter. She was originally gonna be a rogue, but when I plan that I had didn't want like duplicate classes, and somebody else
Okay.
picked rogue before me, and I was like, fine, I'm gonna do blood hunter and make her a complete badass, and she's super intimidating,
Yes.
and she doesn't take shit from anybody. And I
Yes.
feel like there's a pattern here.
Maybe no, you get to live it out in a different way. You know, role playing
Yeah,
is super fun.
exactly. So yeah, she's a and there's that like I feel like all 3 of my characters are contrast a lot from each other.
Okay.
So next there is Nephili, who is an Air Genasi monk,
Mhm.
and she's kind of like laid back, a little creative. She likes reading poetry. It makes her feel calm. But
Mhm.
like she can have a short temper sometimes.
Yeah. We
Like
love a monk.
she has a boyfriend who like they are on and off again all the time because like they have trust issues and all that.
Fair. Fair. Okay.
Because like she got kicked out of her monastery, and like when she got kicked out, like the monks told her that like, "Oh, he was the one that said you did this thing." And then she's like, "Oh, how could you? I can't believe you. He didn't actually do it though."
Yeah, but your character doesn't know that yet, right? Okay,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
so the
like she
betrayal.
like she's learning to trust him again, and that's what matters.
Okay, okay.
um
Who's our third?
and our third is Tallulah.
Oh.
She is a bard elf.
Aw.
She's pink. And she's like a bimbo, she's not the brightest.
Yes.
She has some memory issues.
Mhm. Yes, yes.
And she makes very silly mistakes sometimes, but she also works as the bartender in the local tavern.
Mhm.
And even though she gets people wrong all the time, and some of her drinks will have some crazy side effects that you might not like, everyone adores her. Like she's so charming that like even if she's giving you a drink that I don't know makes you swap bodies with somebody
Yeah.
else, like you can't get mad at her for it.
Yeah, you're like, "It is what it is, it's fine,
Yeah,
just
I'm like,
enjoy it."
Whatever.
Okay,
And
whether
then
you
she's
get
just always playing music, like she's
Yeah,
always singing. That's her thing. She's like the
yeah,
performer slash bartender slash just
all of
local
it.
idiot.
Okay. I love okay, so many things I wanna touch on this. I love that you have a variety because I don't as somebody who also loves to play different characters, like, it's when I see other people do it, it's a chance to get to know you as you explore different aspects of your own personality, right? Like, even none of us are bimbos here, right? You're brilliant. You're multi-talented. You do so many different things. It's insane. Uh, but it's fun to explore the perspectives and energy behind characters like that, right? And how they interact and see and how people treat them differently in those spaces that can inform and lead us in our own choices of how we want to represent and explore and present ourselves in spaces. And so when you do it in 3 so distinct and interesting ways, I think it's just fascinating and kind of shows your own layers and your own kind of reflection of how you view and understand the depths of individuals. Which was the first character that you made?
It was
It
Willow.
was Willow.
Yeah.
I could imagine. I was gonna, if I were gonna take a guess, is that also because it ties most closely to all the cosplays that you pick as well?
Yeah. I feel like all the characters though, like, represent me in some way. Like
Yeah.
Willow just being like super like I wouldn't say I'm super confident, but like I'm getting there. I'm building up
Yes.
my confidence better than it and I feel like I channel my confidence through her.
Hmm.
Whereas like Neff, she's very laid back and creative and like she's just chill. And then there's Tallulah where I can have like my little dumb moments. And she's also
Yeah.
super girly. So like sometimes I can be super girly,
Mhm.
whereas Willow's not as girly. So there's um like contrast between like sometimes I can
Yes.
be girly and sometimes I'm not.
Yes, yes. And as people, as individuals, we're allowed to be all of those things. And sometimes that's hard for people to understand. Like they like to categorize. So this exploration, this playthrough of all of these attributes, it's got to be very fun for you,
It is.
right? Okay.
Like I honestly can't even remember it. Like I love them all so much.
Oh,
Like we have like different like in my group we have like people who take turns DMing, so we'll have like one character for one and then another character for another.
yeah. Just as you switch around to
Yeah.
play all of them. So, do you DM as well then?
I don't, but like I don't know. I've been thinking about like I have
Build that
some ideas for
confidence.
campaigns, but
Yes.
I've never written anything down.
No, it's
But
time. You're ready.
it's time.
You're ready. I can tell. It's you've got 3 characters currently that are playing. It's time for you to pick up a DM role. You've got this. Start with a one shot. I'm excited about the stories you will tell.
Is Ben's right brain saying anything about that right now?
I would ask you what you want to do, but in case some of your players are in chat, we won't cover that so that way they can have full surprises. You deserve
Yeah, I
that.
think
They
some of
deserve
them
that.
I did tell them to tune in, so they might be in here.
Yes, yes, yes. Does this air anywhere? Are people able to listen or watch? Or is this just a
I
private
think we
game?
should, but we haven't really talked about it,
Okay.
so not right now. But maybe in the future, maybe I can convince them.
Okay. Okay.
I
No,
can bring it up.
you know,
If y'all are listening right now, let's talk about it later.
yes. Yes. Think about what you need to do. I think that's amazing. Well, and it's again, as you mentioned, like feeding all your different artistic sides. This is one of them. And being able
Yeah.
to create and share, but also there's the challenge of when you share it, now it's another thing like the same demands on social media of putting content out, a balance. So no pressure. But I think this is exciting. Yes, it is time for you to become a dungeon master. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for you.
I'll start writing down my ideas.
Okay, so you sing, you are an artist, you are a cosplayer, you are a TTRPG performer. What other, am I missing any others? Because I feel like I'm capped out of like what are the other artistic avenues at this point?
I mean, it's not artistic, but like I wouldn't say I'm a gamer, but I do like to play video games when I have the chance. I know that's
Yeah.
what this whole channel is about, so I like wanted to mention. Although I don't have time to stream, I've been playing a
Mhm.
whole lot of Baldur's Gate lately.
Yes.
And like I mean, I've never actually played most of the Five Nights at Freddy's games, but I've watched all of them.
Yeah. You're good.
And like Animal Crossing, It Takes Two, Stardew Valley, like Minecraft.
Yes. Yes. Listen, you don't have to play often and you don't even have to play a lot of games to be a gamer. Own that title. This is me pushing my own little agenda here, but I think the title of gamer has been considered so exclusive or so limiting to people who think like, oh, you play games, right? It's the same kind of trope of like, oh, you know
Yeah,
them, name 5 different, that's stupid.
yeah.
I don't care. My mom plays Candy Crush. She's a gamer. All right. She's like level 1,000. You're gonna tell me she's
Oh
not
my
a
god.
gamer? She's boss at it, okay? But it's the same. Opening up the dialogue and the identity of it, that's where it becomes more welcoming. Like as you welcome more people into cosplay, like, yes, get into this, let me welcome you. I think the same goes for gaming as a whole. Like it doesn't matter how often you play or how, if you finish a game or not, or whatever games you play, you're a gamer. Just because you don't play Call of Duty doesn't mean you're not a gamer. All right, there's a lot of games. There are literally
Yeah.
thousands of other games as options. So
Yeah, and
what?
also, like, Borderlands is one of my favorite
Yes.
franchises, and I've actually, like, beat 2 of the Borderlands games, but not all of them.
You're more than me then. So what's your favorite video game then?
Uh, it really depends on, like, which genre you're talking about because, like,
Okay.
Animal Crossing is so much different than Borderlands and Baldur's Gate, but, like,
Okay.
Borderlands is definitely one like, up there. I think Borderlands 2 is definitely one of my favorites.
Okay.
Um, I only just recently started playing Baldur's Gate, but, like, I have been addicted for, like, the past 2 weeks
Yeah.
playing with one of my friends, like, he's probably in the stream right now too.
Yeah. No, 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 that's really
Um
nice. Well, and Baldur's Gate is nice, especially if you play D&D or if you want to
Yeah,
learn D&D. Like,
and me and him, like, he's in my D&D group, and we play as our characters, and it's really funny because 'cause we'll have, like, a lot of in-character moments. Because like, I'll play as Tallulah in Baldur's Gate, and I just, like, will do something really stupid, and he'll
yes.
yell at me, and I'm like, "Tallulah would do that."
Yep. Sorry, I'm playing the part. I'm playing the part.
Yeah.
Totally derail the mission. It's
It'll be, like,
fine.
in the middle of combat, I'll start playing my instrument. It's like I'm like, "I gotta see if it works. Maybe they'll like the music," and yes, it doesn't work, I
Yes.
get hurt, but
We need more DM intervention in Baldur's Gate. See, I look at them like that's creative. I want to reward that. That's brilliant. Why not? Why not is the answer.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. Well, and you're still because Baldur's Gate is forever long. I still haven't finished Act One. Are you in halfway through, all the way through Baldur's Gate?
I'm
Yes.
definitely, like, so close to we just got to the, what was it? The Underdark?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just got there.
Fair enough. Fair
He's
enough.
he's further than I am, like,
Uh,
personal game,
okay.
but, like, on our game is just, like, somewhere around there.
Tallulah derails. You're right. Okay.
Yep.
But that's the beauty of that game too, being so open world is you get to just explore and go at your own pace and have fun and
Yeah,
play your character the way that you want to.
exactly.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I love that you've allowed me to pick your brain on so many things. And we are getting close on time, which kind of sucks because I've really enjoyed talking to you. I want to open it up before we kind of go into final follows and where we can continue to see your work out in the wild. Uh, as you think about the gaming community as a whole, right? And I'm talking like big capital umbrella gaming community where it involves gamers, esports, cosplayers, all of this. Um, what's something that you want for all of this? I know we kind of talked about it for cosplayers, but for gamers, like all of us in this nerd kingdom, right? As we continue to grow, the spaces and the commenters that you see on various social media, whether it's on here like on Twitch that we have or TikTok or Instagram, what are trends? What are things that you want to see that you think will make it better? I want to give us a
Um,
chance to kind of speak some positivity out in the space so that way we can all work towards growing there.
Honestly, I think the coolest part of cosplay in general is when people take their own spin on a character and, like, make it their own, like how I did
Mm.
with my disco logo. And, like, when people just, like, combine concept like, they'll combine 2 different characters, like, I remember seeing a Barbie Harley Quinn at Comic-Con.
Oh, I love
I just
that.
yeah,
I need
like,
to
Margot
find that now.
Robbie yeah. Um, it's just, like, seeing people, like, make a character their own style
Mhm.
instead of just being, like, screen accurate
Mhm.
is I love seeing stuff like that. It's so creative. It, like, shows how people have some really good ideas sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, someday I wanna do, like, a curly-haired Gamora and make her more like, put more of me into her, like, now that
Mhm.
I have become her completely,
Yes. Yes. You're
I'm
like,
like,
check that off.
now how does she become me?
Oh, I love that. I'm excited for that
Um,
next part of that journey for
yeah,
Gamora.
and it's just like I just wanna like, I love when people do that, and I'd love to see more of it.
Hmm. I think that's a great take, right? Because so much of us, we we're viewers, and it's a different level to one to value your own opinion and your own input, and then to follow through with it, to create, to put ourselves in these pictures, put ourselves in these scenes, to put our characteristics, our personalities, our creative spin on different things. And that's why I love all of yours. I see attitude, I see energy, but it's yours. It's not necessarily Gamora's attitude and energy. Yeah, it mimics it, but it's Lexy's that's
Yeah.
coming through. Um, and you as the cosplayer, what you choose to bring across, what you want to bring, or what you highlight, right? That's your choice as the recreative artist. I think that's such a beautiful reminder for people to be a part of it and not just be viewers. Or just
Right.
duplicates, right?
Yeah.
We've already got
Yeah,
that.
it's so easy to, like,
Hmm.
make it, like it's not easy, nothing's easy,
No, no.
but, like, it's you can see so many people do the same version of the same cosplay, and it's amazing to see what people can do,
Yeah,
but when you see do something, like, never thought of before, like, how'd you even come up with this? This is amazing. It's,
yeah,
like, so it, like, lets you into their brain a little bit, like, what they're thinking about.
yeah. But it's such a reminder of why we love things like your Disco Loki is because
Yeah.
they're reimagined. They're fresh air in a story that we've seen before on this
Yeah.
end. And that's what makes it exciting. And it gives us a chance to elevate the character experience of like, yeah, we've seen them in this movie, in this story, but what if, right? That's kind of also why I
Yeah.
like that TV show from Disney, What Ifs, right? It prompts it. And that's where we get better versions. Even like the latest Spider-Mans, when they started moving into the animations, like it
Oh,
was
yeah.
a brilliant choice, but it was a
When
recreative.
there's so much diversity in, like, Spider-Verse now, like, Spider-Man can literally look like anything,
Yes. It's
and that's
amazing.
amazing.
Yes.
Like, when I saw Hobie with, like, his big hair, I was like, "I need to do that." That's
Yes.
like, I already had my Miles Morales cosplay done, and I was wearing it to Fan Expo Philly,
Yeah.
and then the trailer dropped, and I was like, "Alright, already starting the next Spider-Man cosplay."
Yes. Yes.
And now,
Yes.
like, people are making their own Spider-Sonas, which I am also working on. I wanna make it a cosplay someday. I've drawn it,
That's the first step.
um,
That's the first step.
yeah. So I don't know when I'm gonna do it. I hope, spider sonas are still as, like, exciting when I finally do it.
Oh, yes. If
Yeah.
anything, you'll be then the one who brings it back, right?
Yeah.
Either it's still a thing or you're going to bring it back for us.
Exactly.
No, I think that's a great note. It's an encouraging note, right? Because everyone brings a perspective, an energy, an idea that's worth sharing and to be able to give that in so others can appreciate and be equally inspired and to kind of have that domino effect. You certainly
Yeah.
have knocked over a ton of dominoes tonight of inspiration. I adore all that you're putting in this space. Your feeds are just founts of inspiration and creativity, and tonight has been no different. Go ahead and tell us where we can keep following you. I know we mentioned WinterCon and we've got your link tree in the chat. So if you aren't following Lexy on everything, remedy that immediately. But let's hear it from you as well.
Okay. I am Lexi Carey on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, which I don't post on too frequently, but I'm there.
Yeah.
Um, and Spotify if you wanna find my, Disco Loki playlist. I forgot to add it to my link tree,
It's
but I
okay.
immediately,
Soon, soon.
and yeah, I'm going to WinterCon. I'm also going to Fan Expo Philly. And all that's definite right now, but I'll be at New York Comic Con every single year.
Perfect. Perfect. Man, you Northeasters get all the cool stuff. Let me know when you hop down to Orlando, okay?
I mean, I do wanna go to Disney soon, so
Perfect. Hit me up, okay?
I will.
No, this is a delight. And friends, if you aren't following Lexi, please make sure that you do. There's a lot going on in the world that can be discouraging or shutting down or unwelcoming. Lexi's is, as I mentioned, just amazing. It's vibrant. Take in that energy of the strong characters that she shares on all of her channels. Let you carry that throughout whatever it happens to be doing, whether it's graphic design in your day job or answering emails or grading for some of us. All of that is a chance to continue to make sure we're taking care of ourselves in multiple ways, right? Don't just pour yourself into one thing, especially if that one thing isn't where your hopes, your goals, your fulfilling aspects are. You are more than just that. So, Lexi, thank you again for joining us. You're an absolute
Thank you.
dream. Chat loves you. Multi-talent D&D queen. All right, so much love towards you. We could have just turned
And
this
this is
into
my
like,
first time doing anything like this, and I just wanna say I had an absolute blast. I was, like, very nervous at the beginning, but, like, you've made me feel so comfortable and, like, would love to do this again.
deal. We will absolutely make that happen. That's not hard. In fact, one of these days I want to meet you at a con and maybe just interview you there. Do you want to like
Okay, sure.
let's make this
I'll find
happen?
an Orlando con to go
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, come on down. We need to make this happen. You're you're amazing. Thank you for being you, and friends, keep being yourselves. Bring those recreative energies. It's going to be better for all of us. All right. That's it for us tonight. You all take care. Enjoy your Monday evenings. If you're in the US, you'll have Turkey Day coming up. Remember to respect each other, love, care for yourself and those around you. And of course, if anything, this is my own personal thought as well, to keep in mind, of course, of practices of what we do and colonialism within the US, right? Talking about indigenous people. Sometimes when we think about Thanksgiving, we go through whitewashed versions of it. It's such an important time for us to reflect on our history, the stories we tell, and how that kind of drives how we interact and value individuals today. So, just as a thought, when we want to be the best to ourselves and best to others, it's important to think about it in all aspects. So, keep being good people. We'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And bye, friends.